Hello everyone. I was recently asked what are my thoughts on the Call of Duty World War II beta. So let's get to that. I think it has the potential to be a fun game. However, I'm disappointed at their advertisement and the game structure, I guess you can say. Let me explain. When Call of Duty World War II was announced, they said that it would be a World War II game, that they would be returning to their roots. In reality, it's a fantasy of World War II. Some of the things in the game are inaccurate or weren't really a thing of World War II. I'll give you two examples. The Bren light machine gun is in the game. It has the option for a drum magazine that hangs off to the side. The Bren, during its service, had a 20 round or 30 round box magazine. Very rarely, it had a 100 round pan magazine. Second example, the suppressors or silencers. I'm not really sure what they were shooting for there. Regardless, in World War II, the guns that had that had it built in. It wasn't detachable. People tell me I'm nitpicking with little things like this. To be fair, they opened the door to that when they said that it would be a World War II game. I am fine with people altering the game in such a way that it makes it fun for everyone. All I ask is that you represent it accurately. The other point I wish to bring up with that is that games have the potential to be educational. World War II is a big part of our history. So, if you can, name the weapons accurately and give them the proper accessories and things of that nature. I'm not asking for 100% realism. I'm only asking for 50. This beta seems to be at 20%. Moving on to the structure of the game. So the game has the Axis and Allies theme. The problem is that the weapons are from different points of origin, and the divisions, as it stands, I think are allies. I'm not sure which country the expeditionary force is supposed to be, but I'm going to guess it's the United Kingdom. Europe and UK had expeditionary forces in the military, so it's really hard for me to tell where it came from. Call of Duty World War II intended the game to be a thing where, you could do whatever you want to. So if that's the case, then they just need to make a Team 1, Team 2. If they're going to stick with the Axis versus Allies theme, then they need to change things around. They need to add more divisions, weapons, and change around the current divisions and weapons. So what they could do, for example, is add the United Kingdom as the second Allies um, group of divisions. They could add SOE, SAS, the Royal Marines, the British Army, the list goes on of what you can add. For Axis, they could add the German divisions such as Volksgrenadiers, SS, Fallschirmjägers, um, Pioneers, or Combat Engineers, whatever you want to call them, and things like that. To go with the Germans, they can select either the Italians or Japanese, as they were part of the true Axis powers. The problem is that adding either or will be difficult. Even though Germany and Japan were allies, they were too far apart. Italy during the war was in worse condition than the French. Sad but true. But you could try adding one or the other. That would be the first fix. That'd be on the division end. For the weapons, they could just start adding a whole bunch of different weapons. Um, I have a list here. I'll give you a few examples. Let's see here. For shotguns, there's just a bunch of them. Um, there's the Auto 5, the Remington Model 11, Remington M10, Winchester Model 1912, Savage Arms M720, Stevens M620. There's a whole bunch of them, and I can keep going. For pistols, they could add the Webley revolver, the Browning high power, and the pistol of whichever country they choose, whether it be Japan or Italy. For machine guns, they could add the MG34, MG42, um, the Browning M2, Browning M1919, and things like that. For SMGs, they could add the M1 Thompson, MP40, and if you really want to go out on a limb, Sterling SMG. Then as a separate category, you could add the silenced weapons, such as the Sten Mark II or Mark VI, um, the Delisle carbine, and things like that. For rifles and or sniper rifles, they could add the Lee Enfield, Springfield Model 1922, Winchester Model 70, Gewehr 43, if you really want to go on a limb, SKS, the Browning automatic rifle, the FG42, and the list goes on. Although not a silenced weapon, I guess you can throw it in the special category along with the silenced weapons. You could add the Lee Enfield number 5, Mark 1, aka Jungle Carbine. It was a bolt action carbine using a flash suppressor. It was one of the few weapons in World War II that featured a flash suppressor. Some other examples of flash suppressor weapons would be the Browning automatic rifle and the Bren. So, I don't know, I just felt that they could have done a lot better. That's the most I have to say on this. Thanks for listening.